framed right there. Okay, Mike, keep this with your stuff. And that just says that you were interviewed on this date and you are on tape 31. This says that the tape is, and when, keep that with your stuff. When the people find that, you know, 100 years from now, they'll go down to Portsmouth Public Library and take a look at you.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll give that to my wife here
Okay.
real quick.
Sure, go ahead. Get my coffee cup. Well, okay, you told me your name and your date of birth. Your date of birth was November the 10th, 1944, okay? And in fact, that makes you about 21 days older than me. December the 1st is 40.
All right.
Okay, man.
Still getting along good.
Yeah, we're still kicking. People ask me how I am. I said, oh, I'm holding up all right.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and Theodore Michael Dyer, D-Y-E-R, is your name, Mike. Now, where were you born?
I was born in Portsmouth.
Portsmouth, Ohio.
I'm trying to remember the name of the hospital.
General Hospital, I bet.
The one over the side of the trail.
That's Old General Hospital.
Yeah, right there.
It's a dump now. Have you ever been by there?
Yeah, they made it into a retirement home and whatever.
Well, apartments and sleeping rooms and alcoholics.
Oh, did they? I didn't even know they did that now.
Your present address is what?
Well, 166 Long Street.
That's in
Wheelersburg.
Wheelersburg, Ohio. In
Right.
fact, we are at your residence
Right.
now, aren't we?
Yes.
Okay. And what is your occupation?
Right now I work up Mills Pride. I'm a automated paint line operator.
What do they do at Mills Pride?
We build cabinets. We pre-hung cabinets for new construction mostly, or redoing a home or whatever.
Okay. And that's in Waverly, Ohio?
Waverly, Ohio.
Okay. It's quite a drive from here, isn't it?
It's about 37 miles, I believe.
Okay. How much education do you have?
High school.
By the way, talking about Mills Pride, is that company on the brink, or is they solid, or? I heard somebody tell me
it
that.
is so shaky up there right now.
Oh,
We
no.
don't know what we're doing from one day to the next.
Yeah, that's what I heard, yeah. That's too bad. And you're married,
Yes.
and your wife's name is?
Vera.
Okay. Now, how many children do you have?
2.
And what are their names?
Michael and Kathy.
Okay. Now, let's talk about that a little bit. I try to get a genealogical line here. What were your parents' names?
Now I'm adopted.
Okay. Do you know who were your adopted parents?
There was Theodore and
Okay.
Wilma Dyer.
Did you happen to know your birth parents, maybe?
I met my mother once in probably 67, 68, right around there.
What was her name? Do you recall?
Mary, but I didn't, she was remarried and I really didn't get the last name.
Did you ever catch up with any brothers and sisters or anything?
No, I've been really meaning to go down, and I don't know how to go about finding out what my real last name was, unless I would get a paper from November 10th, 1944, 9th and 10th, and look and see the births for that day.
Right. You might be able to find that down at the municipal building in what they call Vital Statistics, the Department of Health. Well, no, they've moved over to the new AEP building, or the old AEP building. But the Department of Health can give you birth things, start you out.
Yeah.
You start birth certificates and things.
I knew it was adopted from as long as I could remember.
Okay.
It was sort of in the family, I believe.
Okay. You mean your mother may have been related to your adopted folks?
Well, yes, it would have been by marriage. Like, I believe my cousin's name were Perry.
P-E-P-A.
P-E-R-R-Y, I believe.
Right.
And I believe that I'm some relation to the Perrys, but I'm not sure. I never did really get into it a whole lot.
Okay.
You know, once I was adopted, I considered,
That's that.
yeah, that's that.
Okay.
As I got older, I met my real mother, but it was like, okay, you know.
Okay.
But my adopted mother's really the one I call mom, and you
Okay.
know.
Are they still living?
No,
Okay.
they passed away quite a while ago.
Now, what's your wife's parents' name? Your wife's name again is Vivian.
Vera
Vera.
Carter.
Okay. Now, her parents' names, her maiden name is Carter?
Yes.
Okay. What was her father's name?
Edward
Okay. And her mother's name?
Willadine.
Okay. What was Willadine's maiden name, you know?
Do you know that, Vera?
What's that, huh?
What was your mama's maiden name?
Hall.
Hall.
H-A-L-L.
H-A-L-L.
I should remember that because they were from down in Pikeville,
Yeah.
or
Kentucky.
south of Pikeville, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you from Pikeville? Or are you from
No.
Kentucky there?
No, they're from
No,
out South
from Oak
Webster.
Hill.
Oh, okay. You're from out Oak Hill,
Yeah.
South Webster area? Okay. Was your maiden name was Carter then,
Yes.
right? Okay. I get a little genealogical line here. I know that people say watching this 100 years from now are going to be the type of people to try and trace their roots.
Yeah.
Right.
I figure it's that type of. Okay, now let's go to your children. Michael, and what was your daughter's name?
Kathy.
Kathy.
Kathleen.
Is she the oldest?
No, Michael is.
Okay, Michael. Let's start with Michael. And what is his full name?
Same as mine.
Okay,
Theodore,
Theodore
Michael
Michael.
Dyer,
Okay,
Jr.
Okay. Now, we know that he has a child, right?
Right.
Which just happens to be our grandson.
Right.
And that little rascal's name is Soulless John Michael Dyer.
Yes.
Okay. Now, how about your daughter's name? Now, her name was Kathy.
Kathy.
How about, does she have children?
She has 3.
Okay, what are her children's names?
Michael Allen,
Okay.
Christopher Allen,
Michael Anthony.
Michael Anthony.
Christopher Allen. And Caitlin Dawn.
Okay. How old are they?
Michael is 9.
9,
Christopher is 7.
7.
And Caitlin is 3.
Okay. We haven't reached the great grandpa stage yet.
Not yet. Now, I do have another daughter by a previous marriage.
Okay. What was her name? What is her name?
Her name is Margie.
Okay. And what is her last name?
I lost track of her and I don't know.
Oh, okay. Did she have children?
Yes, she has 2.
She had 2 children.
Yes, the last I seen, I haven't seen her since probably '87,
Where was she then?
Virginia Beach.
Virginia Beach. You were in the service, weren't you?
Right.
Navy?
Navy.
Now, did you enlist?
Yes.
When did you enlist?
October the 12th, 1964.
When were you discharged?
I was retired in 1988.
Do you remember the date?
No, not exactly. It was in the early spring.
What was your rank when you were
I was
discharged?
boatswain first class.
In the Army? You got E1, E2, that sort of. What would
This
that
would
be?
have been E6.
Okay. Now, when you enlisted, when was that? 1960?
63. 63.
Okay. Where were you? Were you in Portsmouth?
I was living in West Portsmouth.
Okay. Is that where you graduated from high school?
Yes.
Okay. Where did you go for your basic training?
Great Lakes, Illinois.
How long was basic training?
I was a reservist, so it was only 2 weeks.
Okay. Now, so then you would come back after your basic training, then you re-entered civilian life again, is that
Yes.
right? And you started going to your reserve meetings.
Right.
Okay. How long were you in the reserves?
I was in there 6 years.
Then you must have been active.
I had 2 years active duty.
Okay.
From 65 and 66.
All right.
And then I was released back and went back into reserves.
Okay.
got a discharge, and I was out. I worked for Will Carr Enterprises down in
Right.
Portsmouth.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I quit Will Carr, started driving truck for the Charleses. Charles.
Mhm.
And
There are some Charleses out in South Webster. Is that the group that you were?
well, they were from Slocum Station out
Okay,
there.
that area,
That was
yeah.
my first wife's relation.
Mhm.
Ended up getting some overload fines. Couldn't afford to pay them. Went back in the Navy.
Okay. In the reserves or active duty?
Active duty, regular
Okay.
Navy.
So then you re-entered the active duty Navy in what year?
It would have been 68.
About 68. Now, did you go overseas any?
Oh, yes. First time we didn't. Well, we went down, they was having some trouble in Haiti.
Dominican Republic?
Dominican Republic back in the early 60s. And when I was on with the reserves, we made a couple of beer runs down there.
You did?
Just, load the whole ship up with beer, take it down to the troops.
To the troops?
Well, some of it didn't quite make it all the way down.
All that beer didn't make it.
Uh,
Well, what was your title then again? Your boatswain mate?
I was a bosun's mate.
What does that person do?
They do the rigging on the ship, run the small boats. If you've ever watched any of the beach landings like Normandy or anything
Mhm.
like that, of course I wasn't in nothing like that, but I was the one that drove the boats up on the beach,
Okay.
run the Liberty boats, did the rigging, put all the loaded cargo, loaded fuel,
Okay. Okay.
that sort of thing.
What was the name of your first ship?
Well, USS Luzerne County,
What kind of boat was it?
LST 902.
Okay. And LST does what? That's a landing ship or
Landing
something?
ship dock, or landing ship transport.
Okay.
They run up on the beach. You've seen them in the movies today, or the old World War II
Okay.
Normandy landing, the big ships with the
Right,
doors opening up. And
So they'd run up on the beach and unload stuff?
tanks,
Tanks,
whatever. It's a
okay.
tank landing ship, really.
Okay. Then how long were you on that boat?
I was on there for the 2 years I was on active duty in the reserves.
Okay. Now you get out and you go back on active duty in '68.
Right.
What did you do then?
I went back aboard ship. I was on a LPH, or let's see, USS Sandoval, PA,
What's a PA?
personnel transport.
Okay. And that's exactly what it means, or?
Right.
says.
That's the one, the big ship that carries all the small boats,
Okay.
take the troops over.
Okay. And in fact, were you taking troops where, Vietnam or something? Or?
We take them to the Mediterranean
Oh, really? Okay.
and do ops over there. I was an only child, so I volunteered to go to Vietnam,
Uh-huh.
and they wouldn't take me.
That's interesting.
Sole surviving son or something. I actually
You
had
know, I
one-
had the same issue. They didn't take me. I was on active duty in the Army for 2 years, and I ended up in Fort Knox, Kentucky, behind the desk the whole time.
I ended up going to Europe all the time instead of
Okay.
to the west coast.
Well, you were on the San Duval,
Yeah,
and that's a personnel transfer.
yeah, PA.
How long were you on that ship?
I was on there about a year and a half or so, and then I got transferred from that to
What did you do on that ship?
same thing. I was
Rigging and.
yeah, rigging, lowering boats over the side,
When you-
cleaning, painting,
Yes.
this, that, and the other.
Scraping. So you went to the Mediterranean. What ports did you make?
We went to Greece, Athens, of course Naples, Italy, a few places in Spain I don't recollect from right now, and Rota, Spain, of course. That's where the first port you hit when you go into the Mediterranean. I thought probably Athens was the most interesting.
Was it? Did you hit England or Northern Europe any?
No.
Just the Mediterranean?
Just the Mediterranean.
Okay. Were you single or married?
I was married in, but that was to my first wife.
Okay. So you didn't see much of her, it sounds like.
No, no. In fact, that's one of the things that probably broke up our marriage.
Well, when you hit Rota, Spain, or Athens, Greece, or Naples, Italy, What does a sort of, I won't say unattached, but sailor do when he goes on liberty?
Well, the younger ones, like myself at the time, we go out and find every tavern we can find.
Find every tavern.
And usually the ship will put out what they call the plan of the day. And when you go into port, they'll give these off-limits places that you're not supposed to go.
So that's where you go.
So that's why we pick up a plan of the day and find out where to go that night.
Okay, and these would be places like every tavern and.
Yeah, taverns and where you might find ladies
Uh-huh.
and this, that, and the other.
Well, now, this was during a Vietnam era. Did you ever run into any tense situations? You being an American service person and in with the locals over there?
No. One
Yeah.
time, but it was much later, much later in my career.
Okay.
I run into a fellow in Spain, and I had my ribbons on. No Vietnam, it wasn't Vietnam, but he was going off, drunk. I was probably drunk, and we got a little altercation over it.
Is that right?
I said, he's talking about American heroes, this, that, and the other, and I took them off and stuck them on him. So, told him he was a hero now, but,
Was he a Spaniard?
oh yeah, we got quite a little
Okay.
brawl over that.
I assume you stood up well for the ship.
I think so.
Don't remember.
No, we were all pretty well.
Did you
We
like?
didn't stand up well for America. but-
Okay. But the camaraderie thing, that's what
Right.
counts. But now, did you like the Mediterranean?
Yes, I loved it.
Did you? Good food, isn't it?
I loved, yes, wonderful places to eat. That was one of my big things going out, is to hit some of the nicer restaurants. and
What was
stuff.
Naples like?
It's sort of an armpit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Naples is filthy, but there was not. You had to get away from. You had to get away from the waterfront,
Okay.
and you got out in it. It's an old city, you know. You got. Well, compared to our cities in the United States, I mean, it's been there for 200-300 years. Naples, what more than that?
Yeah.
I mean, from Lord, I don't know how long Naples has been around, but
Maybe back to the Romans or
Oh
something.
yes, at least. I
Well, then-
wasn't even thinking right.
Then what was so special about Athens?
Going up to the Acropolis, seeing all the, you actually go up, walk around, and it was just interesting. The people were nice,
Mm-hmm.
and the people in Naples were nice. We got along overseas real well.
Okay. Now, after you did, what was the name of that ship again?
Sandoval.
Sandoval. And I guess you took supplies to the Mediterranean and came back.
Right.
Where was your home port?
At the time, over in NOB, Naval Operations Base, Norfolk, Virginia.
Okay. Then after you got back from, what did you do then?
Well, I came back. I got transferred from that ship to a LKA. Now, an LKA is the cargo ship. LPA, personnel ship.
Okay.
LPA, of course, carries personnel. Cargo ship carries all the cargo.
Mm-hmm. Going back to the Mediterranean?
Back to the Mediterranean. We lived in the Mediterranean.
Great. Was the name of that ship?
That was the Yancey.
Yancey. Okay. And back to the Mediterranean then, huh? Did you ever hit Egypt or any of the North African shore?
I went to Egypt once, Alexandria, Egypt,
Oh, yeah.
and I thought that was quite interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But that was much later, too.
Okay. Tangiers or?
No,
any of that
no.
stuff?
We started to go across from Rhoda.
Mhm.
You can take a ferry across to Morocco,
Mhm.
and we just never did.
Mhm.
There was a lot of trouble going on in Morocco, and they advised us really to stay out of there.
Okay. Now, that ship, and then you came back and, well, how many trips did you make to the Mediterranean altogether?
And that enlistment, probably about 4 to 5.
Really? And it was always to take either personnel or cargo?
No, we carry the Marines over and do operations.
Oh,
We'd do NATO operations with the combined forces. You'd be in Italy, you'd have the Italian military and us. We'd do operations like beach landings and, practicing for the next war or whatever the Cold War thing.
Yeah. You say that enlistment about 4 times, you said.
Yes, I got out again.
Okay, you must have gone back in again.
Right. I got out and I decided I wanted to come back and go to school. And that was right at the end of Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
Right, well, real close to the end of Vietnam.
73 or something like that?
Right. And I came back here, fooled around. I went to trade school a little while up in Jackson,
Mm-hmm.
and met my wife, Vera.
Mm-hmm.
I had a chopper, rode around on a chopper, let my hair get about halfway down my back.
Mm-hmm. Did the wild thing, huh?
Oh, yeah, yeah. And one day I was working in a body shop, and one day I just got discouraged with what I was doing. Vera and I were living together at the time. We weren't married. And I came home from work and a little bit late, and she said, where you been? I said, oh, I enlisted in the Navy today. Of course, she started crying.
Oh, gosh.
Thought I was trying to get out of town on her or something, I don't know. It was kind of funny because I backed into the recruiting office on a chopper, hair about halfway down my back, and walked in and talked to the recruiter and told him what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave it to me.
What'd you want?
Shore duty, my rank back is E5, what I
Mm-hmm.
came out as. And he said, well, don't get married until we get these orders through for you. As soon as they got those through, my wife and I got married.
All right.
And that's an interesting story in itself.
Okay.
We went to Oak Hill, we got a license. And I said, like I said, we were living together.
Mm-hmm. Where were you living at that time?
We were living in, down on, right across from the Ramada Inn, Washington Street.
Mm-hmm.
In a building, it was,
They've torn that down now.
that old red building across,
No.
It's yellow now, I believe.
yellow.
Huh?
It was in the Portsmouth Times.
Yeah, they
It's
tore
one-
that down.
Yeah,
Like a-
okay, it's not there anymore.
It should have been tore down before we ever moved in. But anyway, we ended up living there, and we had our marriage license. And my wife was, Vera was probably about 7 months pregnant or so, and we went to Oak Hill. Was riding around, and we decided we'd stop in Oak Hill
Mm-hmm.
and get the mayor to marry us.
Yeah.
Well, he wouldn't.
No.
He didn't perform those ceremonies. So his secretary says, I'll call a couple of ministers. Well, she called one. Well, he wasn't interested in it. Called another one. He said, tell them to come over, bring 2 witnesses. So I had nobody in Oak Hill. We were just passing through. So they closed the mayor's office. She came with us, and the pastor brought a witness with him.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we got over there, and Vera's showing pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And he set us down and talked to us for a while about the getting married and what it means and this, that, and the other. And he asked if it would be a single ring or a double ring ceremony. I said, well, it'll be a no ring ceremony. I wasn't thinking, we were just traveling. So he took his ring off, loaned it to me to put on her finger when we got married.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's lasted for 28 years now.
We've been married for 27 years, dear.
27, I'm sorry. And neither one of us could remember our anniversary.
You gave the ring back.
Oh, yes.
You don't have that ring?
And we seen him here when we first moved back here in whatever it was, 90 or so, and he
Mhm.
remembered that
Did he
ceremony
remember that?
more than anyone he performed.
Well, you had that long hair, didn't you? Were you riding your bike then, or you just in a vehicle?
No, it was in a vehicle. She was not able to ride that.
Okay, that's right, that's right. Okay, well then you get married, but at that moment, then, you had been in the Navy for a few days or something like that, right?
No, I hadn't signed papers
Well,
yet.
you hadn't signed
It was
it.
about.
Well, they
that-
told
that-
you not to get married.
Right, until I signed the papers. Well, no, let's see, yes, I had been at Navy 2 days,
Mm-hmm.
because I had joined, and immediately, that's what I was waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
And why we decided to go to Oak Hill was just traveling through there,
Mhm.
or she's from there, but you know,
Yeah.
just, well, this would be neat.
Then what happened to you? You came back down to Washington Street.
We went across the street, stayed, got the honeymoon suite, the Holiday Inn, or the Ramada Inn.
When did you, I was gonna say ship out, but that wouldn't be the right word. I mean, they gave you an assignment, and I assume you two could go together then.
Yes. I had about 2 weeks there before I had to go anywhere. And they gave me my shore duty, and I got stationed in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
And my job in Washington was, I was stationed at the Defense Communications Building, and I was a driver for the Chief of Naval Operations,
What was his
Admiral
name?
Zumwalt,
You were his driver.
one of his drivers.
Interesting.
And then I
He's
also
a
had,
famous guy.
oh yeah, he was a really, he was a personality. He was a
Was
very animated type person, you know.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he had the famous Z-grams or something?
Z-grams and
Mhm.
let you have your sideburns down
Right,
and
right,
this,
right.
that, and the other.
The old Navy time.
He had these eyebrows that he could brush back.
What kind of conversations would you have with him, if any?
Just general conversations like you and I. He was
Mhm.
just a normal, one of the guys.
Mm-hmm.
He would sit, and most of the admirals above 2-star, 3-star, 4-star admirals were like that.
Is that right?
Except for Admiral Wiesner, he was Sink Pack Fleet. He was the admiral in charge of the Pacific Fleet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd drive him every once in a while, and he would always take his cigar ashes and put them in the floorboard in the back of the car so to make sure the car got cleaned out between picking him up and letting him off.
Mm-hmm.
And he was one of these guys that had at least 3 aides, and he'd touch his pocket, and one of them had a cigar out, and the other 2 lighters, you know, just like you see in a movie or
Oh,
something.
gosh, okay.
And I guess he liked that. I don't know. He was a nice guy, though. I mean,
Yeah, but he liked the people following him around and cleaning
Yeah.
up after him.
yeah.
Well, who else famous did you meet while you were in the Navy? Zumwalt,
Birch Bayh.
did you?
I drove for him
That's a
one
senator.
night.
Drove for him. Where did you take him? To
He
meet
come
him?
back. No, he came back. They were on a. He was with the Office of Legislative Affairs, OLA, and they go on one of these trips where we pay to have them go overseas.
Mhm.
And they come back. When they come back, you unload all the nice things they bought over there.
Yeah, right.
And then I drove for the Chief of Naval Operations for Australia. Quite a few of these. I can't think of all of them now.
A few foreign navies.
Yeah,
Okay.
I drove for them more. I was the lead driver,
Mhm.
and they would come in and we'd give them a tour of the city, take them out, and take them to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier and this, that, and the other.
Mhm.
Go to the embassies for embassy parties and this, that, and the other. And his name was Admiral Stevenson. Drove for the Japanese defense minister. I don't recall his name. His aide was Captain Oki. And that was kind of interesting because they got this little bow every time you find yourself doing it after a while.
Mhm.
Most of them stayed at the Watergate. That
Mhm.
was quite a place around that time.
Yeah, it was. Wasn't it? Huh. What kind of experiences did you have with these guys? Did any of them say, "Take me and show me a good time"?
No,
None of that?
no. Just general conversation.
Okay.
They had special places they had to be, and we'd just drive them. We'd sit out there and wait on them. If they were important enough, they would rent limos to drive them around then.
Mhm. Then they wouldn't use you, or would you
No,
drive the
we'd
limo?
drive the limos.
Oh, okay.
It's because we just had regular staff cars, and some of them wanted a nicer car, so they'd go out. Well, I don't think they rented them. I think they had them. We just get a different car for the night.
How long were you there in Washington D.C.?
3 years.
And did you like that duty?
I loved it.
Yeah, sounds interesting.
Oh, I only did that for about a year and a half, and the other year and a half I was in op-nav security at the Pentagon.
What's that?
We went around, they sent us to school, taught us how to pick safes, or
Really?
manipulate safes, not really pick them. And my job was to go around on a 12-hour shift and go to people's offices and do little things to their safe to see if you could get in.
Huh.
Look under their notepads, look through their desk. We had pick sets, we could pick the locks on their desk and open it up and look in. And look for top secret, confidential material was left out. I had a top secret clearance.
Oh, okay. Well, did you ever find anything?
Quite often.
In other words, you're looking for people who are careless.
Right.
Okay. It would be possible too to look for people who may have been spying or something like that, but that'd be rare. Mostly it's
Yeah.
carelessness, isn't it?
The spies we'd have never really caught. The spies are smarter than that. And we didn't have, that comes under a whole different branch. We had the spooks up on the top floor that took care of things like that.
So you're looking for, well, when you'd find something like that, what did you do?
Wrote a security violation.
Okay. What would you do with the secret stuff laying there on the desk?
We would confiscate that, take it back, and lock it up.
Okay.
Or leave it in the office, and if it was a safe that had been left open, we called whoever was responsible for that particular safe, and they would have to come in and inventory the whole safe, a page-by-page inventory, not just look at it and say, oh yeah, I think it's all there.
That's laborious, isn't it?
Oh, would take them hours.
That's probably the most appropriate punishment that they could have served.
Well, I wasn't on duty one night, but the other guy was, and he went into Secretary of the Navy's office.
Oh, gee.
Found
What was
the
that
safe.
guy's name at that time?
I don't remember. I'm sorry. It was that was probably 1975. Whoever had been in at 75.
Okay. Did you find something?
Found the safe open, and they must have been 50 safes. And the safe they found open was the master safe. Well, the master safe had all the combinations for all the other safes in an envelope. So, needless to say, they had to page-by-page inventory every safe in there.
Does the Secretary of the Navy have to do that?
No, he had people doing it. And I just don't, I wish I could remember his name. But,
Wow. That sounded like an interesting job.
oh, it was quite interesting. I had a real good time in there.
After that, what did you do?
I went to Iceland, got transferred to Iceland.
Oh, okay.
I had choice of duty when I left there.
Did your wife go with you to
Yes.
Iceland? Okay.
Well, that's when we were in D.C., that's where Michael and Kathy were both born.
Okay.
Michael was born at Bethesda, and Kathy was born down at Andrews Air Force Base
Okay.
at the
Did
hospital.
you take them to Iceland too? I
They
guess?
went, all of us went.
Mm-hmm.
And what it was, I always put my family a little ahead of my career.
Mhm.
So I took non-advancement. I did things that didn't enhance my advancement opportunities.
Mhm.
I wanted my family with me more. I could care about making E7, E8, whatever. So I took this, it was sea duty. It's called Type 3 sea duty. In other words, you were on land, but it counted like you were on a ship.
Hmm.
And we went to Iceland for 2 years.
Reykjavik then? Is that
Yeah.
where you were?
No, yeah, Reykjavik.
What did you do there?
I was in charge of maintenance at the naval facility. Naval facility we had, we tracked submarines.
The bad guys?
Yes.
The good guys?
Bad guys. And it's all unclassified now. It was classified for a long time, but we could actually, by the cavitation of the props, propeller on a submarine, it was so sophisticated, we knew what submarine that was.
The name of it?
Yeah, from sound.
Wow. Okay.
And also, it was so sophisticated what we had under the water that a bear, Russian bear or bison bomber go over. You didn't know which one it was, but you could tell that was a bomber flying over.
Could you, was it ever so sensitive, I'm talking kind of science fiction now, that you could pick up any conversations from inside the submarine?
No, all you got was the cavitation noise from that.
Okay.
And if they could, they wouldn't have told me.
Okay.
That's a need to know.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. Well, how long were you at that?
We were up there 3 years, or 2 years.
Did you like that?
We loved it. We went trout fishing.
Did you actually like Iceland?
Yes. I think it was one of the most unique places I've ever been in my life.
Mm-hmm.
It was like living on the surface of the moon.
Mm-hmm.
They had a national forest that you could walk out in and see over the top of all the trees because they were only about chest high.
That's the
And
national
It was
forest?
only about an acre. But they actually took the lunar vehicles up there to test it before they sent them to the moon.
Okay. What were the people like?
They were really nice. They didn't like military, hated military, but they liked Americans.
Did they have their own army? Did
No,
they have their own, they don't have any military.
No. Very strict on, the drinking problem was a big thing up there with the Icelandics.
Mm-hmm.
You would see 12-year-olds going down with a bottle of what they called Brindavan. It was like a moonshine they make. And they just go down the street drinking it.
Oh.
And the Icelandic police just walk by, they'd throw the bottle up there and break it on Friday or Saturday night. All the men got just completely wasted. They'd be carrying them over. The men and women both carry them out of the taverns and discos on the weekends. But they were very hardworking people. They didn't do this every night of the week. It was like a weekend thing. And you had to get used to it because my wife came up and we went to a disco one night. And it's not like we go to a bar and say, walk up and wait till the next guy gets to. The Icelandics, they just start elbowing their way through. They push you out of the way, whatever, and get to the bar to get a drink. And you do the same thing, and they don't think a thing on earth about it. The American people, like they've got a shell around them, a little invisible bubble. Don't, get close, but really don't touch. Icelandics are not like that. They just right on through.
Get close and personal.
Yeah. But
Okay.
it was a wonderful place. We went trout fishing, stayed, We had a Navy base. They had they rented or leased a A-frame on a big lake up there. We go up and sign up for it and go up and stay a week. And it was unique there because the first time Vera and I went up, it was probably the middle of summer, so it stayed light 23 hours a day. We got up there, took no radio, no clock, no watch, and we're out fishing. When we get back to the cabin, we got some trout, cleaning them up. I turned the radio on the truck and found out it was like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Really?
I had no idea what time it was. We just
Interesting.
completely lost track of time, which is interesting in itself.
Well, that's an interesting assignment. Were you at sea any, or it was like land duty but counted for sea?
Yeah, it's counted for sea on land the whole time.
When you're at sea or something that counts for sea, do you get more money?
You get sea pay when you. Now I didn't get any extra pay in Iceland since it was on land, but when you're at sea, you get. It isn't much, about $1 a day. When you actually leave your home port and actually out steaming around someplace, you get $1 a day.
Okay. After that, the kids were with you up there, weren't they?
Right.
How old were they about
Oh, Michael was probably only about going on 2, and Kathy, they were just
They don't remember anything
types.
about it.
No,
do they?
nothing at all.
After that, where did you go, Matt?
Went to Little Creek, Virginia, and
What's there?
I was stationed at Naval Amphibious base down there with the Seabees.
CB time.
Another duty station that wasn't very enhancing for rate, but I wasn't really stationed on a ship. I was stationed with a Amphibious CB battalion. And we actually went out on the ships. We loaded causeways on the sides of them. Went to the Mediterranean, but we didn't take as many cruises as you would if you was actually on a ship.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I had 2 deployments down there.
Remember your ships to the Mediterranean?
No, because we just get stuck on one.
Okay.
And I don't really recall it. I think we was on the, I wouldn't say because it lost track.
That doesn't sound like a duty station nearly as exciting as Iceland.
Well, it was quite interesting because they sent me out as assistant officer in charge of these causeways, and you got 4 causeways, 100 tons apiece, 400 ton of causeways, and you got to me it was interesting because it really put my rate into doing what I'm supposed to do, rigging, and they'd float these alongside.
Causeway's like a bridge, is that what you mean?
That's, they go out, we let them all off one at a time, then you marry them up into a section of 4, and you put 2 boats on them, run them into the beach.
Hmm.
Then you run anchors off so they don't drift or get set. And then the ship comes up to the end of them, drops a ramp down on them, and trucks
Okay.
things can go in.
Okay. Was that your job then to see that, did you unload them? And
We unload. I was in charge of unloading them, loading them,
Okay.
getting them to the beach, getting them set up, and marrying the ships to them.
Okay. How long were you at that station?
I was there about 2 years.
About 2 years. But after that then, what does this get us up to?
That gets us up to, let's see, right around 1979.
Okay. You've got a ways to go. I think you said you got out in 88 or?
Yeah.
Okay, then where are we going?
Well, let's see, 79, we went to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Naval Marine Corps Reserve Center as an instructor.
You were an instructor at the
Right.
Naval Marine Corps
Reserve Center.
Okay. What did you instruct?
My rate,
Okay.
rigging,
Okay. To Marines or?
no, to Navy.
To Navy
Yeah,
people?
we didn't really fool with the Marines at all.
I didn't know there was Marines in Wisconsin, or what was it, Wisconsin?
Well, just reservists, it was
Okay.
just a reserve station.
Okay. And what, were you an instructor there the whole time?
Yes.
How long were you
I
there?
was there 3 years.
Did you like that?
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. We bought a house up there. We sort of just settled into the neighborhood like normal people
Mm-hmm.
with, a regular job. You would just,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
it was the first time we'd ever, and you're not around a military community.
Mhm.
We lived out in Racine.
Racine, Wisconsin?
Right.
Okay.
On,
Did you become a Green Bay Packer fan?
oh yes.
Did you?
Yeah, well, more a Brewers fan.
Brewers fan. Yeah.
We went, in fact, we got to go to one of the playoff games when they
Right.
got to go to the series. We didn't get to go to a series game,
Mhm. Is that the year they won?
but no, they lost that.
Did they
year.
lose
But
that?
they got
Okay.
into they won the playoffs, but they lost the series.
Who did they lose it to? St. Louis?
St. Louis, yeah.
Yeah.
It was the beer playoff,
Right,
or
right,
the beer series.
Okay. Oh, that's right, St. Louis and then Milwaukee. How long were you there?
We were there 3 years.
Did the kids are starting to have some memory now about the service, aren't
Yeah, they were getting out. Michael was in the 1st grade. I think Kathy started kindergarten there.
they? Yeah. Did they like all that, or you're just kids? What were they? Did they seem to like traveling around?
I don't. That was kind of a mixed bag there. They would get to know people, and then we'd have to move.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
I don't think it was good for either one of them, really.
Okay.
And every time we get really settled in, they'd get some friends. 3 years,
Mhm.
4 at the most, we're gone.
Okay. Well, then after Racine, you ended up where?
I ended up back in Little Creek, Virginia, on my last ship, which was the USS Spartanburg County.
Were you doing the same thing as before when you were
Yeah.
in Little Creek?
Well, no, I was on a ship this time.
Okay.
I called my detailer and tried my best to pull some more of this strings that I'd
Mhm.
pulled for the last, since my wife and I got married, and I'd
It worked this
man-
time or didn't?
No, he said, you're going haze gray and underway.
Haze gray. Haze gray, what's that mean?
That
There's
means you're
fall?
going on a ship and you're going to sea.
So where'd you go? Mediterranean?
Mediterranean, I must have made 4 trips. Well, there in Cuba, we went to Cuba.
Did you?
2 or 3 times.
Down to Guantanamo?
Yeah, for training. That's where we did our training.
What's that like, Guantanamo down there? It's kind of small. Isn't
Yeah, it's small, hot, really a beautiful place if they'd let the tourists back in. Nice
Mhm.
fishing, clear water,
it? Uh-huh.
some snorkeling, things like that.
Right. You see it on the news now. Does that remind you of anything down here?
No, not really. They're showing some of the compounds, they weren't even there. They built them with the big fences around and all since I've been there. But yes, it's just a rock. I mean, but rock in the Caribbean.
Right.
Can be very lucrative property.
Well, are we at the end of your military career now?
Yes, Spartanburg County was my last ship.
And then when were you discharged? I think you said 1988.
1988, it
Maybe in
was
the spring.
spring.
Okay. Were you glad to get out?
Oh, yes. I went day for day 20. And actually,
Day for day, what's that mean?
that means I didn't stay another day after I had to. And what it really changed, it got to where we had the females on the ships.
Oh yeah, what do you think about that?
I really don't have an opinion, but it was like if you crossed minority lines
Mm-hmm.
or the female male line, I mean, you say, you do this. And I had to tell people to do things. That was
Mhm.
part of my job. And if you really made somebody mad, all they had to do is file a report. You're either prejudiced or you're sexual discrimination, you're up. You could actually get kicked out. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that was when it was first coming up, so they didn't know what to do with it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that I just got disillusioned with it. I might have stayed in a few more years if it wasn't for that.
Did you have females on your ship?
No, no, we had them at the shore station over there when I was at Amphibious battalion.
Did any problems come up that you could tell?
No,
Did
me.
you see? Okay. I mean,
I had one with a black guy once.
oh yeah.
He,
They file a report on you?
yeah, he had me written up. I had him written up, and it went nowhere.
Okay.
He had left something out. We had an inspection. A pair of these shower shoes, you know, little flip-flops. Paid about 50 cents a pair for them in the ship store. Well, they left them out. And there was several people who left things out. I just had the guy that cleaned the compartment throw them all on the side of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he told me he wasn't going to go to work till I went down and bought him another pair of shoes. And then we had words and got in a fight.
Mm-hmm.
I was an E6 and he was an E4 or something like that. We got up and basically apologized to each other. In fact, we got along very well after that.
Mm-hmm. But you're saying that then sort of as a problem general to the Navy was the issue of women and minority issues that started coming in.
Right, yeah. It just, you know, when I went to boot camp, somebody tell you to do something, you're supposed to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way I was brought up. My parents, when they told me to do something, I was supposed to do it. And then it got to where you tell someone to do something and they want to know why.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't work in a military situation. Peacetime's fine, but, you know, you got to always look for that. What if we would go have to fight someone or do this? And you tell somebody to do it. We ain't got time to sit there and say why.
Right. Well, what's the worst thing that ever happened to you while you were in the service? If you can remember anything like
I don't think anything bad ever happened to me. I always remember the good times. I mean, there was bad times. You know, you got to be away from your family.
that? Mm-hmm.
That was probably the worst thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got restricted to this ship, but it was my fault.
Okay.
I did something. In fact, my wife came over to Spain.
Spain.
Yeah, we would we'd go get to. We went to Almeria, and
Went to where?
Almeria, Spain,
Almeria. Mm-hmm.
and the ship was going to be in there for like 10 days. So the wives come over. We, you know,
Do they fly them over?
fly them over. We don't, well, we pay, you know, they pay to come over. The Navy doesn't do this. They might try to get a charter to save a little money, but that's about it. So she came over, and the port before I went out and really, it was me, one officer, and two other enlisted. And we really got drunk, and we stayed in a hotel.
Mhm.
And we went to the taverns, and I drank a couple fifths of whiskey, and we couldn't find a hotel. So we finally decided we better go back to the ship. So we went back to the ship, but,
Did you find the ship?
oh, we found the ship. The taxi found the ship. We just didn't know the name of the hotel. But anyway, we'd been up to the hotel quite a while. I'd probably called the States, called my wife. And if you've ever been to Europe, or they've got the little refrigerators already stocked up in the room. So we drank quite a bit of that too. And they charge you for it the next day when you check out, but we weren't there. And we hadn't paid for the room either. So they got a hold of the American ambassador there. They had our ID cards. They knew who we were, where we were from. And before we was meaning to get back and pay these bills. I mean, we weren't trying to skip out. There's no way he was going to, but we just didn't get a chance before they got to the ship. And I ended up on restriction for a few days.
And there your wife is.
And my wife's supposed to be coming over. But that was the next port. I got off before she got there. We had a fantastic time.
All right, look at you then. Okay.
Chevy Chase's European vacation. Everyone else came over and took the regular tour, the bus.
Mhm.
You know, go here, see that. Go here, see that. My wife and I and another couple rented a car.
Mm.
A little Fiat of some sort. We didn't hardly 4 people sat in and took off through Spain.
Wow.
Not knowing where we were going. We knew where we were going, but we didn't know how we were going to get there. And we ended up in, no, that's where we went to Almeria, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What was the place that you came over?
The place, what?
You flew, I know you flew into Madrid, but I
Flew
mean,
into Madrid.
where were we at? We were down close to France there, but I can't remember the name of that port.
Can't remember it.
Anyway, she came down. We took off in a car going to Almeria.
Mhm.
And we found, I had a good friend there that I met over the trips to the Med.
Mhm.
And we had quite a time. We went to Little Hollywood where they filmed the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh,
and
that
all
one?
that, yeah.
Okay, it sounded like you had a good time.
Oh, we had a fantastic time. I'd love to go back to Spain.
That situation where you have an officer with 3 enlisted, is that fraternization, or what's the situation?
Not
there?
anymore.
It doesn't matter?
Not so much anymore at all.
Okay. He didn't get in trouble then?
We didn't let anybody know he was with us.
Oh, okay. That's good. Well, now, actually, it sounds like you liked the Navy.
I had a
Big
good
picture.
time.
Yeah.
And then as far as in the Vietnam era, as far as this area here, Sauter County,
Mhm.
Portsmouth, we never got treated bad. No one ever said anything to me about being in Vietnam or this. I wasn't in Vietnam, but they
You had a
didn't know that.
uniform and they
I had a
didn't know.
uniform and I was in it at that time. I never encountered any kind of.
Have you ever kept in touch with any of the friends you've made? in the Navy?
Yes, I had one call me, and in fact, I got an email on the computer from one, Matt Aaron Holtz.
Okay, where's he live?
He lives up in Massachusetts.
Okay. Okay, you ever visit these guys? or-
I went up and seen him once, and he's supposed to come down this year and see me.
Okay.
He was wanting me to go to Costa Rica with him this summer
Mm,
fishing,
okay. Okay.
but there's no way I'm gonna go to Costa Rica.
Are you in any veterans organizations or anything?
No.
Okay. What'd you do with your uniform? Where's your uniform?
When I got out, I just left them all there
Where?
on the ship,
You left them all on the ship?
except the one I was wearing.
Okay.
We rented a limo, had a limo come pick me up. In fact, I was on what they call terminal leave, and the commanding officer called up, and I wasn't even gonna go back to the ship for a retirement ceremony. I was just sending my money. And
Did you go back then?
well, I went back, and it was a good retirement ceremony. I'm glad I went to it after I did,
Okay.
because they did a nice thing for your wife. Because she's as important in this as you are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it makes things go smoother if everything's happening right.
Mm-hmm. Did you take a lot of pictures while you were?
I've got boxes of pictures.
Okay. You got any tattoos you want to talk about there?
Well, I got that. That was my rate. Crossed,
Your rate.
Crossed anchors. That
Crossed
was what
anchors.
was on your
Okay,
shoulder
right.
patch.
Okay.
And Mike and Vera.
Okay.
Pink Panther over here.
What's the Pink Panther for? That's not naval, is it?
Well, at the time I got it, that's when I just went back in. That's when I was in Washington D.C.
Uh-huh.
And they were having a thing with the SLA. Remember the SLA?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The
Oh, that's been on TV lately here, Patty Hearst.
Yeah. Well, they had the Black Panthers.
Oh,
So,
this was a protest of yours.
sort of a little protest of my own, a sailing ship on this arm. No Navy nowhere on me, I don't, except
Except your cross.
little rate
Okay.
symbol.
Is there anything else you want to say, Mike, about it or anything?
No, that's about it.
Okay. Altogether, you had 20 years then?
20 years,
Okay.
active duty.
Okay.
And I had 4 years reserve, but that didn't count towards anything.
It didn't?
No, it didn't count towards my retirement or anything. You had to have active duty to
Okay. Huh. Vera, come here a minute.
I don't want on him.
Yeah, you come here. I gotta put you on camera now.
Yeah.
Get down there. Beside him, so.
Watch out, don't trip over that.
See what the wife looks like there. Okay. Just sit down. And you followed him around from port to port there for a while, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Did you have a
For
good time?
16 years.
16 years.
Actually, we enjoyed it.
He didn't cause you much grief, did he?
No, the hardest